the huge number of people who make the decision not to retire, even though they can.
It's really due to fear, right?
Sure.
Fear of the unknown, fear of the financial. And it's not, it's the fear of not being able to envision what they're going to do every day.
For most people, it's all they know. They have their career, they've had it for a long time. We had it for a long time. We made the transition out, and it's hard. But we put together a plan which helped a lot. A lot of people don't have any hobbies. They don't play sports like golf or tennis, so they can't imagine what they're going to do all day long.
And they don't have relationships that are glue for them. They don't have their go-to people outside of their work community. So they feel alone and they're scared. But we're here to tell you that putting it off for no good reason is cheating both yourself and your family, and actually even your friends who may be retiring at this time.
And honestly, your community at large. You probably, like us, have some great skills and talents and experiences that you can put to use after your career in any number of ways.
A recent survey said that 40% of people are more afraid of retirement than they are of death.
And that's ridiculous. 40% in this survey are more afraid of retirement than death.
And it also said that 87% of them are afraid they will not have enough money to retire. In fact, the number one fear in the survey was lack of financial stability.
And it's not that they don't have enough money.
It's just the
fear of not having enough money.
That's right.
And that's the number one thing. Other reasons why people don't want to retire, they're worried about their health and getting sick. They're worried about losing their community of friends. That you will. You lose your work friends.
You do.
And the other big thing is, what am I going to do all day? Maybe you're thinking that as well, and it's keeping you from retiring.
So today we thought it would be important to walk you through and bring forward some of the top fears that were listed in a survey that stop people from retiring.
And before we get into the number one fear of financial, it's really important to make sure you have created a vision for yourself, a track to run on, a place to go. Because if you don't have that, you're never going to leave your job.
Years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but we were doing a focus group of people before we even started the business.
I remember.
And we started talking to people about fears in retirement. And one gentleman stood up and said, "I'd rather die at my desk than retire." And the statement kind of landed flat in the room, and everyone kind of gasped. It was
people are thinking, who is this guy? Why was he invited?
Pretty dramatic statement. But his point was, if I don't come to work every day, I don't know what else I want to do, and I'm not going to put effort into building my vision.
And this isn't a criticism against him.
No.
He's a lawyer. And he said he loves reading law journals and briefs and things like that. That's just what he does. And he works Saturdays and Sundays. Some people really will continue to work until they die. And that's their choice.
Absolutely.
But if you're like us and you're looking for something beyond your career, we want to give you the things to do to make sure that happens. So,
and to be honest with you, if you're not that person who's looking for things beyond your career, but your company retired you, you have to have a vision before that happens.
Right.
You have to have something that you're moving towards, not just getting cut from.
Right.
So here are some steps to create a vision to really kind of quell that fear.
Quell. I like that word.
Quell's a word.
Quell's a word.
It's actually a really good Scrabble word.
I'm going to look it up when this is over.
Anyway, first thing I would do to start my vision is I'd grab a journal or a piece of paper and I would just start writing down everything I'm afraid of.
Right. Each one.
All of my fears.
Right. And because that's helpful. So once you get it on paper, you can look at the list and one by one you can attack them. And when I say attack them, I mean think about them.
Explore
Write
them,
more
really.
about it. Explore them.
Yeah.
How big of a deal are they? And also find ways in which to deal with the fears.
And then on a new page of paper, you really want to write down your dream list.
Right.
this will be where your vision starts to kind of let you dream and expand. You know, it may be one of travel or of changing your location where you live or engaging with your children or your family differently or even engaging with your partner differently. But that page will become important to you as your vision comes together.
You know, in our online course, Your Retirement Game Plan, we take you through creating a vision for your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your relationships, your spouse-partner relationship, and your wisdom sharing, so that you've now got a guiding light. You have a path. You have something to move towards, just like you used to do during your career.
And I have to tell you, if you're not ready to retire, this first step is even more critical for you.
Right.
You have to do it ahead of time, either before you make the decision or your company makes the decision or other circumstances happen to you.
You know what we should do? There's not an Ask the Expert, our video series with retiree stories with Ken Favreau.
Oh, that was a good
We'll put the
one.
link below. He's been planning for 10 years on his retirement.
That's right.
It's really worth listening to Ken and what he did for 10 years before he retired. Every Monday he met with a therapist.
And how successable he's become in
Unbelievable
retirement.
story. So
Yeah.
we'll put the link below. But the first fear is financial. And I think it's not a common fear. It is the number one fear for everybody. And these feelings that you might have around financial, they're real. So you can't ignore them.
So before you give up retirement because you have a fear of financial, figure out what can you do? What can you be proactive? What useful steps can you start to kind of, again, quell that fear?
Yeah.
You know, the first thing we would say is meet and hire a financial planner. That's not us. It's not what we do, but it is important in your retirement and will help you with your financial fear.
And a financial planner to us is not your stockbroker that trades stocks for you and says, you have this much money, you have enough money, don't worry about it. A financial planner is someone that actually puts together a 30-year analysis of your current investments and what it looks like, and how much money you actually will have. And you know, it's a little bit of a gamble because you don't know what's going to happen, but it's an independent third-party professional that brings an unbiased perspective, which you need.
Yeah. And once you have that, you can work up a budget. And once you have your budget, you can look at your dream page again and see what on my dream page am I already prepared to do. And that could give you some great confidence.
And you're going to have to make tough decisions. You may have to downsize or right size, whatever it is. And you've got to, if you've got a partner or a spouse, you need to do this together. But do you really need a 5-bedroom house anymore? We actually have 2 small homes. We have one in the Northeast and one in the Southwest. And our kids come, and when they come, we either put them in hotels or we do Airbnbs. We decided we don't need to have 2 5-bedroom houses that are empty most of the time. So that's us, and we have some YouTube videos on that.
Right.
But there's always a way around it. You just have to really talk about it and get some good advice and input.
Yeah, so with that financial fear, the thing to remember is to take the first couple of steps. You might have to sacrifice, but don't let the fear of financial paralyze you away from this wonderful stage of life.
All right.
The next fear is the fear of losing your identity. And it will happen. You are no longer...
It should happen.
It should happen.
It
That's
should
a good
happen.
way to put it.
It should happen.
Because you are no longer the CEO or the senior vice president. You're no longer tied to maybe profit and loss, or, you know, you're no longer a leader of a team.
You're no longer using a corporate jet. You no longer have the expense account. You no longer have the team you're leading.
Right.
You know, one of my dad's biggest failures in retirement was he never created a new identity. When people would say, hey, how are you? What are you doing? Well, I used to do this. I used to do that. I used to do this. I used to do that. He never created the new identity, and he got stuck in the neutral zone that we talk about a lot.
And
it killed him.
That would be a great title for a book, is Lose the Used to.
Yeah.
In retirement, you can't used to anything because nobody really cares.
They don't.
About your used to accomplishments. Now, they do care about your wisdom sharing that derived from those accomplishments. But there is a transition that will take place with your identity, and you have to be aware of it and meet it where it is.
And you have to go through it. We talk about this book so much because it's so good. The Way of Transition by William Bridges. there's these three phases: letting go of your old identity, and until you create a new identity, you're in the neutral zone, right in the middle. And you've got to go through this process. But the biggest part is really finding this new identity that could be anything. You could be a volunteer.
Right.
You could be the best grandparent ever. You could be, what else?
A coach, a consultant, a mentor, a board member.
Yeah.
You could start your own nonprofit. I mean, the list is endless.
Even if you
really.
start small, but
Right.
start somewhere.
Right.
So the fourth fear is around your health. Now look, this is important. To take the attitude that you're fearful that you might get sick and not do anything about it is ridiculous. Listen, there's so much control that we have over our physical wellness and our mental wellness and our relationships that affect mental health. Instead of worrying about what can happen, be proactive and work on it.
Well, I think really the study talked about people fearing the fact that in retirement you have time to now go to the doctor and go to the dentist and go to the specialist. And, you really have seen maybe generations before you retire, get sick, and pass. And you don't want that for yourself. So you think that first step is the slippery slope into it, right?
Right.
But it's not. Now is the time for you to embrace the aging process, listen to your body, fill yourself with good nutrition, find ways to move your body, exercise every day, and don't have the excuse of, I don't have time.
Right. And we don't want you to have regrets.
Right.
However you're showing up in retirement, wherever you are right now with your health, is where you are. Don't feel guilty about everything you did wrong. Just today is the first day of the rest of my life.
Meet yourself where you are.
Meet yourself where you are.
Right.
Visit with your doctors, make changes, eat better, exercise. There's a way around this and a way through this fear.
And in this phase of life, be empowered to make those decisions and changes.
I love that, being empowered.
Do you?
You're so good.
Oh, thank you.
How about the other fear of people worried about what they're going to do all day?
Well, we did quell some of that in the first, when people talk
Quell.
about their vision, right? So it is a way to help you figure out how to fill your day. But on the survey, one of the great fears was this specifically, and it can be a real problem. We hear it time and time again, and it holds people back from retiring.
Now, I'm sure you're familiar with routines. You had one your whole career. You got up at a certain time, you had breakfast, you read the paper, maybe watched the news, got in the car, went to work, and same thing. During the day you had routines, and at the end of the night you had routines. Now you're in retirement, and if you have zero routines, you're going to wake up every day wondering, what am I going to do? So it's really important to figure out some basic routines, and I'm a big proponent of first thing in the morning, start your day with a routine so that the rest of the day isn't just wondering, what am I going to do?
And not everybody's first thing in the morning has to start at 5 a.m.
They don't.
Yours happens to, but not everybody's has to. It could be 6 or 7. And we have some clients that say, I don't get going until 8 in the morning, and you're in
And that's fine.
retirement. So you can do that.
But I tell you what's helpful, other than if you have a big party or something, or you're traveling, is to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. And start doing that. And then when you wake up, add a routine or two. Before your cup of coffee, maybe walk for 20 minutes. So having some routines really is going to help you figure out and get over the fear of wondering what you're going to do all day.
So how do we sum this up? Because we've listed the fears, the top fears. We talked about vision. We've given you some stories and some insights on fears. We've given you a process where you can write your fears down and then your dreams down and really start trying to figure out, how do you make that leap into retirement?
Yeah, so here's what
So
we do.
how do we roll it together?
Here's what we do with our clients. 3 steps. The first one is plan. We ran into a guy at the airport the other day who started telling a story about what he's doing and this and that. And basically he said 3 years ago he retired, sold his company, and he failed miserably. And he failed because he didn't plan. He went back to work, he bought a company, he just sold it. Now his retirement is killer. He said, I planned it all out, I'm active in nonprofits. He's a trustee of First Tee, the golf
Nonprofit.
nonprofit. He's back involved with his university he went to school with. So he now has a plan that helps. So that just reinforced the fact that if you have a plan, it's going to work great.
Yeah. And I think the second thing you can do is really prepare. I don't know if you guys have seen the prior YouTube videos, but I highly recommend looking at the video series we did on preparing for retirement. We did 5 to 10 years before you retire,
Yeah.
1 to 5 years before you retired, and then when it was go time, that 1 year before you retired. And we added a checklist. So click the link below if you want to take a look at those videos.
Yeah, that's helpful. And the last thing is learn. You know, we did a YouTube video on having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. This is a great time to start learning about anything and everything. But you want to educate yourself on those areas that you really don't understand. There's books to read, there's YouTube videos, there's
Right.
our course, there's our... Just have this idea of learning. So plan, prepare, and learn.
While you may have some fears and concerns, we want you to overcome them so that you can enjoy all the years of hard work that you had and launch yourself into this new phase of retirement.
Now, we hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please like it, share it with your friends, and also please subscribe. If you subscribe, then you're going to get notified every time the new video comes out. That's every Wednesday, frankly. Every week we do a new video for you.
And finally, join our free Facebook community. The link is in the notes below.
Thank you guys for listening, and we look forward to being with you again soon.